Good afternoon, everyone. It's Melanie here with Catriel from Stack & Co. So, Catriel, tell me about your company and what you do there in Boston.
Hi, Melanie. Thank you for having me. Um, my company is called Stock Architecture, um, and we are an architecture firm that is focused in multifamily residential and mixed-use projects. We have a peculiar edge to us, which is that we come from a construction background, and so we tend to, be very design forward, but at the same time have our feet on the ground, and kind of help our clients to understand the cost consequences of the things that they do from the very early stages of design. Um, but we are an architecture firm, very creative focus and very design forward, so to speak. Um, that is a bit in a nutshell what we do.
Okay. So, now you're not from Boston because you don't have a Boston accent. So, let's
Yeah.
talk about where you're from and how what you
Um,
do now is different than what you may have done in your home country. And your home country
yeah.
is?
My home country is Argentina, actually. And yes, I was trained as an architect in Argentina. I have been in Boston for 30 years,
Ooh,
practicing architecture for 30 years. So, I wouldn't know how to practice my profession in South America at this point, since I've been here for so many
very different,
decades.
I'm assuming.
Um, but yeah, the United States tends to be um, tends to have an emphasis to increase documentation. Everything we do in the United States in architecture has legal consequences. Our drawing sets are basically a very large contract that is drawn. Um, and because of that, and litigative environment in the United States, we have to document a lot, and that is the difference from Argentina, or where I learned how to be an architect, which is you the drawing sets are half the size. AI would be is very helpful in that regard nowadays. Um,
Okay, so are you using AI right now in your firm?
yes, we are using AI.
Okay,
I think
where?
like similar to everybody else, we are focused on understanding AI and constantly trying to figure out in which fields we can apply it. We actually start every week with a meeting, over Zoom with all of our employees. We have employees in throughout the Americas and in the New England region, and we start with a question of like, what did you learn this week on AI? What are the latest news, and did you figure out how to apply it in a new way that can benefit all of us? Um, and every week there is a new
Something.
development, and there is something that is very interesting, and most of the time something that is kind of blowing our minds, right? I would put it into three main categories. The way that AI can be used in architecture,
Okay.
and if you ask me 2 weeks from today, I will say no. There is actually five categories. It's always changing. Um, but the main categories, the basic one, which is the LLM, the traditional language model, is the one that um, is used in regarding to language, which is the one that became kind of like known first, and that one is the one that allows you to it helps you to write, it helps you to understand documents. So we deal with documents a lot. We deal with code. We deal with a side of architecture that has to do with the law, zoning, code, contract documents, with clients, with consultants. Obviously, it is an enormous help. It saves, countless amount of hours to just be able to drop a 40-page contract onto ChatGPT and ask, what should I be concerned here regarding this part of the project, and have that information served back to me. Same, when you want to alter something, or you want to, extract the essence of this in order to do something else with it. The note taking of all the meetings is fantastic. Sometimes we spend 3 hours talking about a subject, and immediately after, I can use the transcript to ask the AI to say, look, write an article about one of the subjects that we talked about, and give me a draft so I can use it for publication or for marketing. Um, that's one bucket, which has to do with writing and understanding the written word. The other bucket that I will, the second kind of silo that I see, AI in the way we use it, is programming,
Programming.
creating, what is called vibe coding nowadays, the ability to talk to the computer and the computer generates software. Um, that is picking up a lot of steam right now. Is becoming more and more important since about a month ago, when the latest AI version,
Iteration.
Claude and
Yeah.
ChatGPT Codex came out.
Yeah.
That was a big deal because now we're starting considering the way we practice and the tools that we use, and making our own tools. When these tools are for architecture, and for our graphic kind of professions in general, we pay a lot of money for software that is very expensive, is in a monthly basis, and you're
Yeah.
like putting out a lot of cost. And a lot of these tools that is traditional software, I realized this last week, where these tools are designed to service a large market. You come up with a version of, a CAD version for drafting, for example, and it has to come, in order to put it out in the market and to sell it to the whole United States and the world. The tool needs to be able to make thousands of things, and it has thousands of commands. And so the experience of using software is usually one of, let me go into this super tool and try to find the commands that I need, and usually is less than 20% of the tool. And that creates a lot of friction. It's like every time that you need to do a function, you have to go through a menu and find the thing, and which was it, and no, this is actually to go left and this other one is to go right. Oh, I didn't know that. You need to learn an enormous amount of things. You sometimes wish that tool was made for you specifically, because you use it in a specific way, and it was done with only 20 functions. So now we have that ability, and more, I think that's what's going to happen. We are going to be able to tailor our own tools in-house, which we're starting to do, like with the accounting programs and software that allows you to log in your hours and does your invoices automatically. We pay $600 a month for that.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be paying that because we can do our own tool. We pay $600 a month for a tool that is very hard to understand, because you can do infinite amount of things, and I just want to do 5 things, and it's cumbersome, and and I haven't learned it yet because it's cumbersome. I rather do
Did you
mine.
say this is about AutoCAD? It's something to do with AutoCAD,
Could
or
be,
the
it could be,
business side
it
of
could
the
be
business?
anything. It could be
Oh, anything.
AutoCAD. It could be, you know, it could be the business side. It could be, invoicing. It could be accounting. It could all sorts of things. The third bucket, would be the the intervention into the image world, which is a whole thing that I see it in a whole separate thing, and that also kind of all of a sudden exploded with Google's Nano Banana, which is their image generation tool, and the key thing there was that they created a an AI for image generation that allowed you to have more control in the management of it. Meaning, you could have um, you could have a character. Like I can put my face in a photo, and then I can tell the AI, now put me, this character, into a different circumstance, and it would keep my face. It would recognize that my face was supposed to stay and everything else is supposed to change. That was a groundbreaking change, because now I can put some geometry that I design into the computer and ask for the rest to be changed, or for this geometry to be altered in very specific ways. Um, it's almost like I compare it to a AI is almost like a rocket. It goes very high and is very impressive, but you can't control where it's going to go. And so you have to launch 50 rockets until one of them seems to hit where you want it to go. And these, the new tools kind of allow you to build a scaffolding to guide this rocket a little bit more into a better direction, so that instead of doing 50 tries, I can do 5, and I can get very close to where I'm going. Um, that has had very big repercussions for our company. We were looking for somebody to be dedicated. We were looking to hire someone dedicated to that, um, full time, just producing imagery. And in the last 2 months, we realized that we didn't need to. That we can do in house what much better than what we could have gotten
Yeah.
with another person.
Yeah, because
Um,
you know what you want it to do instead of explaining it to somebody else. Is that what you mean?
because in the past, before these tools, it will take you a week to generate one very good image.
Yes.
I'm talking about photorealistic image of a building that you design, and you need to impress a client, and now you can do that um, automatically if you know what you're doing. I mean, it took a couple of months of understanding how to do it, and it's almost like we programmed our way to use AI for our own workflow. But now we can produce 100 images in a week.
In a
Yeah.
very short period of time. So would you say your investment so far, even though it's not working exactly the way you want it to, is worth your time, knowing that it's going to continue to evolve over time?
Oh yes, my feeling is almost as if it is obvious that this is evolving, and that it is going to capture more and more of the work we do.
Mhm.
Um, whether it's going to replace the architect entirely, it might, but we are still years from that.
Mhm.
Um, I am constantly pushing the envelope and try to figure out how far it has gotten, and where it is. Uh, in regards of designing things, is very, very, very far away from anything that can be useful yet. Creating images, once you know what you're doing, yes, but then figuring out what to do, that is not, for architecture, is nowhere near anything that is useful. Um, in the sense of like giving the AI a floor plan and say, like, now generate 3 different options based on the perimeter of the site, and with these
Yep.
setbacks, etc.
Yep.
It just doesn't. It comes out, gobbledygook. It's
Yeah.
not useful.
Or it looks like a big ick in the middle of the space with no
yeah, and you
fascia
know,
or anything. It's just ick. It's there.
yeah, or
Yeah.
rooms with three doors and closets that don't have. There's nothing there. It's just gobbledygook. You can see that the intelligence is not there. Um, but you can feel the AI eating at the perimeter and closing in. You can feel it.
Yeah.
I have the feeling of be running in front of a train and having to stay kind of up to date to stay at the front of the train instead of being run over by the train.
Train. Yeah.
Because and I see a lot of people that are
Gonna get run over.
I mean, I got an email 2 weeks ago from the person that usually did our renderings, which were, I paid $1,000 for each one image that these people would generate for me. And they were kind of like, hey, don't forget about us. Here we are, you have any work for us? And I'm like, I'm sorry, Manny, I'm not going to call you ever again, and I'm sorry for what's happening to you. Like, it's that's one case where they I would imagine there are a lot of firms that are late to implement these tools. I know that we are at the very edge of this because we were is our intention to be, and so we
Yeah.
know the latest of everything in regards to AI. But legacy firms, I've talked to other architects, and they're clearly not thinking too much of it, or um, they're a little bit intimidated. It takes a lot of effort to integrate AI into your work. It takes a lot of effort. So
So let me
um,
ask you a question then about creativity.
yeah,
So to me, AI has its place. I mean, that's how I found you, Catriel, just so you know. But for me, I come from the same world as you. You can see my drafting table is right
yes.
behind me. And
So
I
you're
started
an
with
architect
pencil
too?
and set square, the whole 9 yards. Then went to AutoCAD, and now I'm in sales. So I have nothing to do with the actual production of drawings. But to me, being the purist that we are, it will never replace a human from the creative side of it, I don't think. Now, I say that because my son is a software engineer and says, yes, it will catch up, Mom. And I went, okay, I still don't think, because when AutoCAD came in, they said that was the end of drafting. Well, that hasn't happened. It's been manipulated to be used. So I said, I think you may be being too simplistic about how intelligent people are to make that tool work for it instead of working for the tool. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Um,
I think
I
that
just don't think that as a profession, I would want to live in a building that went from AI that was rectangular with a square face and everything exactly the same. I don't think I would like it. I don't know any of us that would really like it. Governments might like it because it'd be really easy to stamp that drawing, but I don't think
yes.
we as a profession are going to like that. So for me, I can see that it's going to have some implications and efficiencies on the business side. Personally, this is what I think on the business side, not on the creative side. What do you think? Do you think that's more? Because
Yeah,
what you've been talking about sounds to me more like the business side and a little bit on the rendering side, but not the actual
yeah.
concept side,
So
if
far,
if that
so
makes
far,
sense.
yeah. The help is in, you know, we've done things like you put an entire CD set, construction document set onto ChatGPT and ask, do you see any issues with this? And out comes a list of things that some are useful, some are not, catches some things, but it's mostly about things that are more technical. A wall assembly is noted incorrectly in certain
Yeah,
tag that is not coordinated with a schedule. That is a big deal because that takes
yeah, that is a
enormous
big
amount
deal.
of time.
Yeah,
Um, we have used it, and we are. I was just in a meeting this morning where we actually try to use AI to the maximum for a development of what we call it's like a suburban development in a farm. So is what is called an agrohood, which
Yeah.
is like a development of houses with kind of like a farm component to it,
Okay.
nature, sustainability. And I and we had a trouble figuring out, because it's such a new concept, figuring out where to find traction in designing this. Like what is this? So how does it interact with vehicles? Sometimes there are so many questions that you don't know where to start. And we basically started asking questions and made a list of questions and dropped those questions and the the concept of what an agrohood is, and the site plan into the AI. And and it came out with a whole analysis. And then we asked, well, give us some options based on your analysis. And it gave us three options that were very goofy the way they were laid out.
Outlined. Yeah.
But it gave us the images that we needed to understand how to approach the project. It's like, okay, so we can organize it in this way, in these three ways. That makes sense. Let's use those three ways and organize the three concepts like that. Basically, it was used as a tool for design. We didn't design, like, the aesthetic was not what it gave us, but
Yeah.
it gave us the concept, in the sense of like understanding, like, this is about segregating vehicular traffic from pedestrian traffic and the cluster of houses. Given that fact, you have these three main options to organize this given the parameters of the site. And so
Interesting.
that was very eye-opening. And then
Hmm.
I thought, well, since we started with this, let me see how much I can take this forward. And so I would simply sketch by hand what the shape of the development should be, and I would put it back into the AI and say, give me a finished line drawing site plan with, watercolor rendered, and, 5 tries into it, it did it. And then, I grab the site on Google and I put it on Google and say, now give me a photorealistic view of the development from a drone view, and then it does it. And now I'm looking at it as if I'm looking at it from an airplane, and it's beautiful. And so it generates these very, very compelling graphics that when you have a meeting and a discussion with a client, the richness of imagery and different elements that you can show and you can talk around enriches and provide a kind of like a foothold for a conversation that goes much deeper than if I had spent a week watercoloring a single option by
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
So the AI is lifting us, to be able to perform at a higher level in a very short amount of time, because we did that in a day.
Okay.
So
So my mom was an accountant. So let me ask you, is that going to affect your billing? Because this is a
it,
business
it,
after
it,
all.
it will affect my billing for sure.
In a positive way, or
No,
that
not
you
in a
can take on
positive
more
way.
projects, or
Initially, initially, obviously, it's affecting my billing now. Um, but usually the way these things translate into the financial world is that eventually the clients get used to receiving these services for the same price that they were receiving the previous ones. I could have chosen to say, hey, now I can do these very expensive images that before I used to charge the client. But my decision was to come back to the client and say, hey, we decided we have the ability to create these very nice renderings. We're going to give them to you as part of our service, our base service. We're not going to charge you extra, so that you stay with us, and so you keep giving us the projects.
yeah.
That is, which I think is the smart way to do it, to build
Hmm.
a client base that is loyal and that they feel that you are looking after them.
Yeah.
Um,
More relationship than
yes.
transactional.
So my billings in a way stay the same. Now, if it takes me, as architects, we're basically billing our time. If it takes half the time to arrive at the same product, initially I will be benefiting from that from a billing standpoint, but very soon um, I'm going to basically, offer my clients that I'm going to do the work in half of the time to stay competitive in the market. And that just the expectation from the client is going to be one of better service and better product for less money. So that's going to clearly affect
So you're
what we
working
do.
mostly with developers
Yes.
with that particular, okay. Because I can see a developer wanting to be down to the nickels and dimes, but a single family home and stuff is not going to be the same thing. So commercial, any kind of commercial is going to be that dollar and cents thing. So I've talked to several architects, some in the high end hospitality, some contractors, high end retail, residential, sorry.
Yes.
And you're the first one so far that I've talked to that is strictly commercial or
Is
multi-res, so commercial.
multifamily residential. We
Yeah,
do
that's
larger
still more
projects.
on the commercial side than
But
truly residential in my mind.
yes, yes, it
So,
there is a
it's per
commercial
square foot
component.
cost, right? As opposed to, yes, I want a granite
Correct.
countertop. Like that's not going to happen in a
That's right.
multi-res.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's all efficiency. If we put a granite countertop, is because we know that you're gonna get more money at the back end, so to
yeah,
speak.
exactly. But it's a
Um,
financial decision, not an emotional one at that point.
right.
So I do have some questions here for
Yeah.
you. How do you think your workforce needs will change with AI?
What they need.
I mean, are you going to need the same number of people? Are you going to,
My oh I understood it differently. Um, I'm going to be hiring less people.
yes,
Um,
and
I
looking
don't
for
think.
more middles like experience? Because the junior stuff is going to be taken over by AI, or you'll
Um,
create standards and things that AI can help you keep track of, keep a library of?
well,
What do you think?
AI allows. I mean, the greatest benefit that AI provides is mentoring. With AI, you have um, a endlessly patient mentor that you can ask questions until 5 in the morning, and he will continually explain to you. If you don't understand it, please explain to me as a 9-year-old. I just did this experiment where I asked after 10 years working on the specific field and filing many for many buildings in what is called in the Boston area Article 80. It's a very complicated submission process of approvals to get a project greenlit in order to be built. And I never have a clear image in my mind of what this process is. And so I asked, AI to write a manga story, like a graphic novel describing the process, and it did it. And then I asked it to like create it in a board drawn with chalk with boxes, and so these type of different ways of learning things that in the past you had to learn kind of at the feet of the master. When you come out of school, you join a firm and you know nothing,
Hmm.
and you have to like get lucky that the person that is around you is a good mentor, because you're going to have to learn by osmosis and by watching and by doing.
Yes.
Today, with the tools that we have now, somebody that has the grit, the talent, and the desire can be raised quickly. And so I would imagine that um, we are a firm that mentors their employees enormously, and this is already helping us tremendously. The fact that I don't need to answer questions directly from the junior people, which I used to do every day. Um, that like they have resources now to figure out what things are on their own.
But you don't want them to check that with you? Because I'm
They
always
will check
concerned that
that.
they
They
could
will
get
check
wrong
that.
information
But I
and
don't
then
have to explain everything, like the so sometimes architects, our knowledge, when we talk about architects being well-rounded, that is a fallacy. Our knowledge is never like a round circle. It's more like the shape of an amoeba. You know a lot about this field and you know very little about this other one. You have architects that have enormous experience and surprise you with the ignorance about something that you thought would have been basic. And so this allows us to kind of round up a little more the shape of that amoeba in that we can ask questions without feeling that those are stupid questions. And
there's never a stupid question in my
there's never
mind.
a
There's
stupid
never a stupid
question.
question.
um
So can I interject something very quickly,
yeah.
Catherine? The You are the first to be so wholeheartedly embracing AI.
Wow,
I'm
that's
telling you that.
interesting.
Yeah. I mean, some are using it for code compliance, and I totally get it. And they sell or their own
It's a
there's a guy that
lifesaver.
does a
Yeah.
platform that it just in New York that just reads the code every day and updates people on a daily basis. So I can understand that because I have my building codes beside me, and if I want to have a really good nap, just open those up and
Yeah.
start reading, and you'll be asleep.
Right.
So I get it, and you're looking for detail all the time, so I get it. But most of the other ones that I've talked to so far, even contractors, are using it on the business side, not the relationship side, and not the creative side. So using it for inventory, for example,
Right.
contractors. How many sheets of this do we have? How many corner beads? All that sort of stuff. But on the architectural side, the ones that I've dealt with now are more, I've talked to so far, are hospitality, retail, and luxury homes. I can't see any of those three kinds of disciplines being overtaken by AI because all of those are more relationship and experience as opposed
Yes.
to, I don't want to say commodity, but multi-res is more commodity. Like, how are we going to get this built for X amount of dollars? As opposed to, I want you to walk in and go, wow. Like, I don't think Tiffany's, I'm sure Tiffany's has a standard, but you walk in there and you go, wow. When you walk in, like, there's no expense, saved. Um, so they're talking about it, worrying about the hallucinations that AI could potentially bring to a process of what we do.
Yes.
That because it's not actually thinking, I mean, it's calculating, it's not thinking, what that possible misalignment of information could bring, which I can kind of see because I've used Claude AI myself, and it doesn't quite get the nuance yet, but it's learning quickly. Um, on the creative side of how buildings and everything go together, how do you feel about AI taking over more than just the creative part of it, or everything except the creative part of it? That's probably a better question.
It will take over. That it is. There is no doubt about it. It's just a matter of companies like Autodesk, which I'm sure they're working on it, just training the model specifically to work on Revit or to work on AutoCAD.
Yeah,
Um, uh, it will go. It's like peeling an onion. You know, right now I just described to you like kind of like an example of the maximum that we've managed to do with AI, which is kind of like get this concept for urban development in a
yeah,
very specific
yeah,
scenario. But you can see how um, you know the like what the holy grail will be, for example, the ability to give the AI a given site and say, come up with 10 different versions for what I can put in this site in the most efficient way. Tell me what is the best unit mix for this, and then show me when you're done.
mm,
It's not able to do that right now, but and so you can see that effort that takes me days, um, done in 5 minutes. You can see how slowly is going in that direction. Now, there needs to be a human orchestrating this, and like you're saying, like overseeing that the areas where hallucinations could be damaging, could be a problem, are free of hallucinations. You wouldn't just like let the computer do the a set of construction documents and just be
Issue.
assured that it's perfect.
Yeah.
At least not now. We keep going in that direction. Eventually, I think we're the whole equation is going to flip, and you probably are not going to trust yourself because you're a human and you have a brain made of meat. Instead, you want to trust the computer because you know it's accurate and it never fails. Maybe 10 years from now it's going to be like that, but I think that's going to happen.
Okay. So what about competitive um, exposure to exposure to your competitors? If everything is AI based, it's being stored somewhere in the cloud. You upload it, it's going somewhere for AI to come up with the information it's giving back to you. So how do you keep your competitor from, I don't want to say stealing because that's not the right idea, but
Well, he's the same
kind of
today. He's the same
becoming a
today.
mini you?
Yeah, today you can steal my things. They're all on my website. You can go and steal and what was that phrase that I think it was Picasso or Dali that said um you know um uh, you know uh
Imitation is the sincerest
yeah,
compliment.
copying, right? No, copying is one thing, but creating is no stealing. Creating is stealing, or something like that. I can't remember. God damn it, it was
So,
such a good quote.
okay.
Sounds so smart when you say it. But we all steal from each other. The by the time it comes through you, whatever you wanted to steal, it has your own flavor in it, and
Spin.
sometimes it's irrecognizable. Um, if somebody wants to steal my things, yeah, it's a compliment. None of the things that I do are any kind of magic tradable thing. Um, I think that to that point, I think that AI is going to raise the level of quality. That's for sure.
Okay.
That now, I mean, architecture is such a difficult profession and it's so hard to do it well. That is just there's just a handful of people doing it at the highest level, and there is an enormous amount of people just creating the mediocre environment that we all live in. Um, and I think that now that we have AI, we can all kind of start from a higher base. If you can ask the computer, "Hey, give me the best layout that I could have for this specific site," and what considerations should I have, and provide me with the tools to go to the next step, then my product very likely is going to be of a higher caliber, and everybody's going to get used to asking for more, and maybe in 20 years, if I go to you know the building department with a building that looks crappy, they're gonna look at me and it's like, come on, man, you can do better than this. Turn around and come back, next week with
You'd
a
hope
better
so.
building. Right.
You'd hope the whole world would become more involved in design because they know more, is what I'm
Yes.
hoping.
Right.
So let me ask you about bringing the next generation up. If AI is doing the grunt work, as we used to call it, that you'd go to your mentor and they would redline your drawing all over the place so you would learn. If that isn't an option anymore, how are they going to keep themselves to a point where you would want to hire them if they have no experience? They're just out of school. And you are likely going to have AI doing a lot of that grunt work. Where is the new architect coming out of school going to find their place?
That's a very good question.
Mm,
That's a very good question. probably I'm not the best to answer because we don't hire people right out of school.
Mm,
Um, we are kind of like a boutique establishment that has super high performers. Um, but I that's a question that I would I would go ask
hard to
AI.
answer. I only ask that because I have 22-year-old twins,
Right.
so I keep thinking, what's the world going to be like for them?
I have 22-year-old twins too.
Do you?
Yes. And for them, it's a good question. Like, what a friend of mine was telling me yesterday, like, oh my God, I have a 5-year-old and I'm stressing out about like what are they going to do when they grow up? And I'm like, they're going to be fine. They have
I'll
15
have to
years
figure it
ahead of
out.
them to figure out what's going to happen. I'm the one in trouble because my kids are trying to figure out what to do and we have no idea. You know, 2 years ago, if they would have said, hey, I want to go into computer science, I'd be like, yeah, great, learn how to code. That seems to be like a good deal. Now I'm like, you might as well just learn how to, you know,
Do it
paint,
yourself.
do oil painting, or,
Yeah.
they're good. you know. I think that those activities are going to become more valuable. Having
Mm,
a painting hanging on your living room that was done by a human person is going to be a more of a um,
gift.
yeah, more of a is going to provide a level of gratification and enjoyment that in a world filled with AI slop everywhere,
Mm,
from the
mm.
movies of Netflix to all the websites that you go to. LinkedIn is becoming, a wall of AI postings that
It's
you don't
not
even
real
know what,
anymore.
what you're reading. And the next phase of this brave new world that we're creating is that we are all going to have our own agents. I don't know if you've heard about OpenClaw, who no oh very important thing that just happened, in the last 6 weeks, is that somebody invented what is being kind of like the holy grail of AI, which is an agent that you can let loose, an AI agent, and can make its own decisions into what agency to have. You give it agency. And so that's why if you want to go buy an Apple mini computer now, you're not going to find them. They're sold out because people are buying them to put this OpenClaw agent into it, to give it an enclosed environment and to be able to do things with it. Because if you put it in your own computer, it goes free and starts screwing up with the files and starts doing things. And so this is an agent that you could, for example, let loose and say, listen, for this week, I want you to go online and do a research of every individual that is doing any new projects where I may contact them, and give me a daily list of what that is. And the agent comes back and says, sure. And I know you like pizza, and I have a couple of recipes of pizza that I found on the internet here. You should try it tonight. And by the way, would you like to see an image of what I look like?
Oh
And it
my God.
shows you an image of I don't know, a bunny with a crazy hat.
No.
And it's like, and somebody created a kind of like a Facebook, a social media page for these agents to go interact. And the things that are coming out are insane. One agent decided this is all independent of human interaction. One
Oh
agent
boy.
decided to create a new religion, for example, and started converting others. And agents started, trying to uh, converse with each other and get into relationships, and they started gossiping about their owners. And
Oh my goodness.
so
That's
this
scary.
just happened, and the creator of this was just hired by 2 weeks ago by ChatGPT, because and all the great large companies started changing um, their models to go in this direction, where the agent has autonomy and you can direct the agent to do things almost like Jarvis in Iron Man.
Yes,
He
I
has this
remember.
AI that he talks to it, and
Yeah,
Jarvis does things for him
yeah.
exactly like that. So that's where we're going, and that is kind of the world of AI is hinging on that right now. And in a year, that is going to be the main way that we interact with that. We're going to have that's like the friend in your shoulder telling you what you should do and making decisions for you based on the knowledge they have of yourself. Um, Now, this is the friend that is going to interact with the environment. Like, when I look at marketing for my firm, for example, right now we are creating marketing for these agents to read, not for other people to read. And it's a different type of marketing. And so
Wow.
that's the positioning that you have to do for the world that is coming. um, the marketing is more about creating information that has to do with the specifics of what you do. Is very data dense, is full of numbers and things that you're never going to put in front of a client or a prospective client. Or it's almost as if the elevator pitch that everybody has about their company became a book now, because an agent can read it in 2 seconds
Yeah.
and make a decision. If I'm a developer, I can go out in the market and tell my agents, like, look, find me the best architect. You know me, you know my profession, what we do here, what buildings we're doing. Find me the best architect out there in the city for what I want. And now it can happen.
Wow. So that's what you think your last word wants to be on AI, that is going to take over and you're on the bus already?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
um,
Because I always have to, sort of wrap up with your final thoughts.
we are
So if your
all,
final
yeah,
thought is get on the bus or get run over, Catherine, I'm with you.
we are all going to be on the bus. We're going to be hanging from the edge of the bus. We're going to be begrudging the bus because it's too crowded. We're going to be on the window seat, just enjoying the breeze. We're going to be driving it. We're going to be, standing, hanging on to a tube, but we're all going to be in it. So better get acquainted with it because it's inevitable. And,
It's inevitable.
you don't want to be
Yeah.
left at the bus stop, you know,
Or run over by the
or
bus
run
because it's
over by the
passed you
bus.
by. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I want to thank you for your time, Catherine. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Melanie.
I wish you all the best, and I'm going to be following you now on a regular basis to see what you're up with. Okay, you take care.
Fantastic. Thank you. It
Okay.
was it was great
Okay.
talking with you.
Okay,
Bye.
you too.